So I'm joined in the studio by Leah. Leah's been filling in for Ben this morning. What have you done in the past here at Takeover to gain this experience, to be given the chance to come in the studio and cover for Ben this morning?
I started in about July 2011, so I'm coming up 3 years now. I started off training, and then I got my own show, and I've just been kind of doing the show Friday nights, slowly learning, building up skills, presenting skills, and kind of picking up a few producing skills because I've made my brother join me now, and Craig has shown me different ways of planning and how to edit and plan a show properly and things like that, and now I'm here.
Good stuff. So when you first started, how long was your show that you had?
When I very first started in July, it was 2 hours, Friday night 6 till 8. It wasn't the best show. There was music, more music, and then maybe once every 3 links there was a really nervous, shaky voice saying, "That was this is K." I played it, and now I'm a lot more confident. I've got features, and songs are just more incorporated than the main show.
Do you feel like initially, after doing that first bit of training, that 2 hours was a little bit too much for you to cope with?
Yeah, straight after training, 2 hours was way too much. I'd sit there, and then for the first half an hour I'd just say, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'd kind of get into it, and then by the last kind of half an hour stretch, I'd just not be that interested in it because I wouldn't understand what's going on, and I'd want to go home and cry for a bit. But then the show got shortened to incorporate more presenters to about an hour and a half, and I started getting more confident, which helped a lot. And then my brother came in and we started doing an hour together, which I think was good for him because he'd only just started training. So an hour was ideal, and the way we'd split the show was kind of he did half an hour of watching me and then did half an hour of having his own turn.
So initially, do you feel that having the 2 hours to cope with maybe just knocked your confidence just slightly?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Do you think it's something that in hindsight you maybe wish that you'd have kind of been in Adam's shoes a little bit, so you'd had the hour and rather than the 2 hours?
Yeah, definitely, especially the way where he got the opportunity, because he didn't start presenting or start much more than talking to a mic really at the start. He got a lot of training from Craig, and then he got the opportunity to see what I do, how I've been doing everything, and kind of little talks as well, so he had then the half an hour to build on his skills in practice.
What about the support from the staff? Initially at first, talk me through how training worked and then what happened once training had finished.
The training when I very first started back in early 2011, it was every Monday night I think for about 2 hours. We'd come in, we'd sit in front of a projector, and the station manager at the time would just say, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, this is a mixer, this is myriad, and kind of how to use it, like search and then along the top and use the parts and you control it like that. And it was very much kind of theory based, and we'd copy it down like a textbook and you'd copy it off the thing, and then I think once or twice we'd come in and the person presenting the show would kind of say, yeah, you switch this up, and we couldn't be in there long because she was presenting the show while trying to talk to us, so we'd only got a couple of songs to explore. And then I think it was a 10-week course, so on the last week we all got to come into the studio and present our own little link, with the station manager mostly doing everything for us and we just spoken to the mic.
Okay, and now comparing that to what you've seen Adam go through and what you've kind of experienced in the last 10 months or so since October, explain that and explain the differences between the two.
When Adam started, it was mostly when he properly started, when I wasn't just sneaking him in. When he properly started, he had the opportunity. He didn't touch any of the controls or anything, You got to stand there and see and explained to him by not only me but Craig and any other staff that were there to help. And then you kind of got to explain to him. He got to choose whether he wanted to present or produce, and he said produce in the end. So I present, he produce. And he got to find out all about the different technicalities and setting things up and everything. And it wasn't you can't do this until you've been trained. We don't want to risk you messing things up and things like that. It was very we're not going to tell you what to do, we're going to show you, and then we're going to prove that you understand it by making or letting you do it. You didn't have to do it if you wasn't ready, if you didn't feel ready, but if you did, then you always had the opportunity there. And it wasn't a deep end 2-hour show after one short link and 9 weeks in a classroom. It was you've got a couple of weeks of half an hour with me or an hour with me and then half an hour with Craig in there being shown things, so it was a lot better, I think.
And which methods, comparing the two and thinking back to the two, not do you prefer, but which do you think was the most effective?
Definitely for the way, I can't speak for everyone, but definitely for the way I learn and definitely for the way my brother learns. It would definitely be the way Adam did it, where he got to play around with the controls, see what was happening, because I think when you go in, you've read about it and everything, you've seen it on a board, but when you're actually there in the heat of the moment and the mic's on and it's going out live, there was no kind of don't worry, we can edit that out. It was that's it, it's live, once it's out there kind of thing. And with Adam, you'd always got someone there where when I did my first 2-hour show, I got this producer who was with me stayed in for the first hour of both shows, and if I needed him I shouted him, but yeah, definitely the way Adam did it was a lot easier to learn from.
And obviously today you've been sitting in for Ben. This is the first time you've ever done a daytime show, ever done a longer show. We kind of threw you in a little bit at the deep end because obviously you've gone through the training and give you a chance to do it. You about just over an hour into that show now. Just quickly before you've got to go back and do another couple of links and entertain the audience, what are the differences between your 1-hour show on a Friday evening and doing this in the middle of the daytime show?
On a Friday evening it's only an hour. We've probably got time for 1-2 features. Me and Adam split it up. There's not as much kind of going on as there are in the daytime. In the daytime it's more likely that more people are listening, and it's just, it seems a lot more kind of professional. Friday is kind of a laugh, it's a time for you, and if you're presenting with anyone else, them to kind of gain experience. But it's not like a big thing, but it's just good. You get to, it's a bit more of a step up than an hour show.
Do you think that you've benefited from this experience of
Definitely.
having a go at it?
Yeah, I think my skills, especially during the work experience as well, and learning from, because as I keep saying I do the show with my brother, learning from Adam and everything, it's definitely kind of fine-tuned the skills I had, and I've made more skills. And
Mr. Saxo beat by Alexandra Stan here on Takeover Radio 106.9. I'm Leah, I'm filling in for Ben. We've been playing the movie quote show. So I think now it's about time to give the answers. We've had 2 correct answers for each quote. One for this quote, and one for this quote. Well, I love Hot Fuzz, and which is the second quote, and Donnie Darko was the first quote, so well done to Jamie who got the correct quote for Hot Fuzz, and well done to Kat who guessed Donnie Darko correctly. So that's the end of that feature, but stay tuned to Takeover because we've got Guess the Date coming up after Stacey's Mum by Fountains of Wayne.